What's up, agents? Zer here, welcome back to the lab, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can use structure blocks in order to transfer your own custom structures in between worlds. And this is something that I personally have been wanting to do for an incredibly long time. Unfortunately, I just couldn't figure it out until just recently, and it's actually a lot simpler than I even realized, which is pretty awesome, all things considered. And there's admittedly not a whole heck of a lot. There are technical things that you do need to be aware of, but all in all, it's pretty simple to go ahead and pull off. Before we go ahead and get started, if you enjoy this video and you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing that I need to go ahead and go over in this video are prerequisite stuff that you need to be aware of, and this is actually technically important. First off, if we go ahead and go into our settings menu and scroll down, you're gonna see right here it's grayed out, but it's experimental gameplay, and I do have it turned on. You do need this enabled in order to be able to use this, because as it currently stands, the structure blocks are locked underneath experimental gameplay, and you need to activate this before you open up your world. If you want to do this in a world that you already have and it does not have experimental gameplay turned on, then turning this on will create a copy of the world. If you're opening a world for the first time and you're doing this, then you do not have to worry about that at all, but that is something you need to keep in mind. The second thing that I do want to mention is that we are going to be working with behavior packs, and I will do my absolute best to explain what is actually necessary in order to pull it off. I don't think I'm going to necessarily need to go into anything super technical, but I will try to make things as easy to understand as possible. And the last thing that I want to mention, and this is actually the most important thing in my opinion, you need to be on Windows 10 to pull this off, and I realize that's going to be upsetting to some of you, and I do apologize, but as it currently stands, as of me recording this, Mojang has this limited to specifically Windows 10 edition, and I'm not 100% sure why, but regardless, if you want to go ahead and pull this off, you can. But the good news about this is that once it's done, you can do this on pretty much every single version of Bedrock Edition that supports behavior packs, so that's at least good to know. Anyway, let's go ahead and actually start talking about the actual structure blocks themselves. So if we go ahead and go into here, you can see we've got ourselves a bunch of blocks highlighted, and I just simply put this down. This is what it highlighted by default, but I did turn the bounding boxes off before I got it started, so I'll go ahead and turn this on. And yeah, this is exactly what it's looking at inside of the world, and this is what it looks at by default, as I said, once you place this down, which, by the way, when you actually get this, you will need to actually get it via commands, just like you need command blocks. You just need to look for structure block, so do keep that in mind. But if I go ahead and go in here, yeah, this is what it's looking at, like I just said, and from here you can do a few different things. I'm gonna go ahead and gloss over certain aspects, but I do want to touch over at least one or two things that I think you guys might find really important, I should say. So it's this size and this offset right here, and basically this changes the, well, size and position that the structure block is actually looking at. So for example, maybe I want this on the same plane as the structure block. I can put it at 0, and now it is actually looking at exactly where the structure block is on the Y level. Maybe I want to move this over, oh, I don't know, 4 blocks to one direction, and there we go. And so yeah, maybe I also want to go ahead and change the Y value as well. Maybe I want this set to 3, just like this. And you know what, let's go ahead and set this to 2, because why not? So yeah, this is what it's actually currently looking at right now because of the changes that I made. If we go ahead and back out, yeah, it shows it inside the world, which is pretty neat. At least it shows you what you're looking at and makes things a lot easier, which is definitely helpful by all means. But let's go ahead and take a look at something else. We do have remove blocks. I've not fully tested this, but I do know that you can basically remove the blocks from this screen. You can also include entities if you really want to. But other than that, that's literally all I'm going to show you guys before I go ahead and actually show you how to pull this off. So we're going to the upstairs testing room because I already have a little bit of an example set up for you guys. This is not really like super extravagant, but I did set this up nonetheless for a reason. If we go ahead and come up here, you've got not a lot of detail mainly, like I said. But if we go ahead and go in here, yeah, bunch of stuff in here. And the reason why I'm showing this off is because structure blocks will remember the inventories of inventory blocks if you have them included. So that is something that you do want to go ahead and think about when you're doing this. So we're going to go in here, and I already have everything set up already. So all I need to do is go ahead and export, but there are some things that I want to mention really quick first. So as far as this name is concerned, this is actually what the structure block will look for and attempt to either save or load depending on what you're doing. And all you really type in is the name of it, and it will add this my structure at the very front of it automatically for you. So I did not type this out for you, and you do not have to either. So all I literally did was type in simple underscore boat, and it did the rest for me. So at least that makes things a lot easier. So now what you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and click on export, and it should bring up this kind of window right here. And I already have it set to the exact location that I want to save it to make things go a little faster, and it sets it automatically to this MC structure file format. You cannot change it, and that's a good thing because that is actually the file that you want to go ahead and use. So I can go ahead and click on export, and it should already be done. So now all I need to do is go ahead and make the changes that are necessary. So if I go ahead and go into here, this is actually everything that I have set up for certain things, and everything that I have set up for this particular video is in this right here. So I can go ahead and open this up. You're going to see this pack icon PNG. This is the image that Minecraft will load when loading a behavior pack. Manifest.json. There are some things that I do want to go ahead and discuss, but it's a lot of technical things, and I'm going to skip over it for the sake of this video just to make things a little bit simpler. However, I will go ahead and say that there are tutorials online that should be able to help you out with this in particular. This structures folder, this is actually what we need to be aware of when we're working on this. So if I go ahead and go in here, this is actually where it went ahead and saved my MC structure file. So here's what we need to go ahead and do next. We need to go ahead and take all of this, and we need to go ahead and compress this down into one single zip folder. And we can go ahead and name this to whatever we want. So I'm just going to go ahead and name this simple boat. And then you do need to go ahead and change the file extension to MC pack. Just like that. It is going to ask you if you want to go ahead and do this and warn you that you're changing the file extension. Do not give in to this. It is actually what you want to go ahead and do. So click on yes. And as you can tell, it already changed to a Minecraft type of file, which is actually exactly what we want. So if I go ahead and click on this and we go back into Minecraft, yeah, the import has already started. So there we go. It has successfully imported the simple boat structure. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do now is we're actually going to be going on the very first field trip inside of the lab, since I actually made the lab bus itself. So we're going to go ahead and go out, and we're going to see this in action in a completely fresh world. So I'll see you guys in just a quick second. Okay, so here we are inside of a naturally generated world. Took a couple hours, but that doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and get out and grab our structure block, and we should be able to pull this off without too much of an issue. So let's go ahead and place down our structure block right here, and it already goes ahead and gives us our bounding boxes, so that's not too bad. So we need to go ahead and go into load, and let's go ahead and paste this in. If we go and click out, yeah, it should go ahead and load in the exact area that we had previously. So we don't actually have to change that at all. What we do need to go ahead and change is where it actually does end up loading. So I am going to go ahead and change this to 1, because then that way we do not have to worry about any blocks in our way, which is pretty nice. Something else I do want to mention is that you can change the rotation of these particular structures as well, so you can change them to pretty much whatever direction you want. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to, I don't know, let's go ahead and set this to 270, because why not? You can also mirror which direction it's facing. So maybe, for example, I want it set to mirror it X, then it's going to go basically, instead of left to right, it will go right to left, if that makes any sense. Unfortunately, there's no way to turn it upside down. I don't know if that's going to be possible later on, but maybe sometime in the future, who knows. But I'm going to leave this alone for the time being, and all I have to do is click on load, and there we go. Our boat has been successfully loaded in. Something I did notice is that these trapdoors that I put in here are not in the correct position, but we're going to ignore that for the time being. Let's go ahead and turn the bounding boxes off so we can get a much better look at our structure. But yeah, so as you can tell, pretty much exactly the same as what we had. Again, as I said, the trapdoors are not in the right position, unfortunately, but we can go ahead and go in here, and we have the exact same loot as we did before, like I mentioned. So that's actually not too bad, all things considered. So let's go ahead and head back to the lab before we go ahead and end things off, because I feel it's only proper, or I guess I suppose I could do this technically out here, but yeah, regardless, this is actually admittedly incredibly simple to go ahead and pull off, as I literally just showed you. Again, I do apologize that it is limited specifically to Windows 10 edition, and I'm hoping that at some point Mojang will be able to change that. But regardless, I feel like it's something that is definitely incredibly useful. And before I go ahead and end things off, I will go ahead and say I will have this example that I put together for the sake of this video in the description for you guys to go ahead and check out and make whatever changes you feel necessary, so that you guys at least have a little bit of a head start putting this together yourself. So yeah, and then again, go ahead and make the changes that you feel necessary. You may have to go ahead and look up like how to change the manifest.json files, and you're also going to need your own custom pack icon as well, depending on what you're doing. Maybe you'll just leave that alone and you really don't care. That's completely up to you. But other than that, this is actually where I'm going to go ahead and end off the video. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure that like button. One more, make sure that subscribe button for future content. Also, you can find me on Twitter at AgentCPU0 to stay updated. This has been Zer0's. Thank you guys for watching, and with that, I will see you guys later.